I'm now porn adjacent. I run a tabletop game stream regularly with some porn stars, which you can check out with suitable precautions in place at tabletopless.org. And just know that I put as much effort into this campaign as I would any other tits or no tits. And which is more, you'll be a grog, my son. Hello, lovelies. A grognard, for those not already in the know, means a grumbling old soldier, originally part of Napoleon's Imperial Guard, and it comes from the old French grogneur, to grunt or grumble, and the term spread from the old school wargaming community across to RPGs. Yeah, nerds have been grumbling about shitty products and cultural issues in gaming for a long time. Anyone giving you predictions is probably selling you something, so let me just undermine myself by saying that I could be wrong about any or all of this. I got things wrong about Ukraine, but I was in good company, to be fair. But on other things, you know, I've been pretty good. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But that said, while I've been on a break dealing with a sick cat, he's getting better, but he still has to go in for a second tail operation. Yeah, not good. I've had some time to think about 1D&D and the implications of it, the second and third order effects of 1D&D that most people don't really consider. And that's my curse, to think about the implications and the implications of the implications. I'm a warrior, is what I'm saying. I think we're seeing the marginalisation and perhaps the slow motion extinction of playing RPGs the way we knew it for, the past nigh on 50 years. With 4th edition, they tried to put the OGL genie back in the bottle, but it didn't take. People decamped to Pathfinder en masse. A continuation of the older edition that they were in love with, and they rejected 4th edition with its MMORPG-like elements. After all, if that's what you wanted, you would play a computer game. Right? And let's not forget, the 4th edition was supposed to have a 3D virtual tabletop with it that was never delivered. And perhaps that could have helped 4th edition at the time, but it never happened. We got some pretty videos showing off what was supposed to happen, and it never happened. So that undercut a great deal of the intended appeal of 4th edition as a sort of hybrid between massively popular MMOs, less so these days, and tabletop role-playing. MMOs having taken a lot of inspiration from tabletop role-playing wholesale. With 1D&D, it seems to me like they're repeating a lot of what happened with 4th edition, just using slightly different ways of doing it, and I don't think they're going to fuck it up so badly this time, which is good for them, but perhaps bad for the rest of us. I also think the gaming landscape and environment has changed a great deal since the days of 4th edition. Lockdowns forced a lot of people to engage with virtual tabletops, online play by post, things like that. And once you're forced to it, you get used to it, and it can be the path of least resistance. A lot of conventions were cancelled or moved online or sidelined. Now a lot of people are a lot more comfortable with the idea of playing online. And let's not kid ourselves as OSR and indie designers. Why I get lumped in with the OSR, I've never quite been sure. I've done more independent games than OSR projects, but hey ho. But D&D will always be the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It will always dominate the gaming space unless something completely unprecedented happens. Even in the dark days of 4th edition, it was second only to Pathfinder and outsold that for a while. Yeah, it's the bellwether for the rest of the industry. I think with 1D&D, they're going to try to replicate Apple's walled garden approach. There will be official D&D with official D&D tools and virtual tabletop and digital books, all within one ecosystem, their ecosystem that they control. I wouldn't be that surprised if they bring all the legacy material back in-house and remove it from drive-thru. And this shift to their own VTT, I think that presents a challenge for third-party product into integration. Rules bending is likely to be difficult in any VTT that they create. It's already a bit of a headache in existing virtual tabletops that have not focused on the user experience, but which are geared more towards customizability and multiple systems. You know, things like Roll20, they're a bit unwieldy, they're not user-friendly, and they're already fairly hostile to customizability and systems that don't have as much support as D&D. So this is likely to be that, but worse. Much like Games Workshop, who here in the UK had game stores in every town, and much like they virtually killed the UK RPG scene overnight by all their stores going Warhammer Only in 1990, I think D&D segregating itself into this walled garden could be massively profitable for them, but the knock-on effect on gaming culture, third-party publishers and so on could be catastrophic unless we see a Pathfinder-esque exodus, which I don't necessarily think we will. Or we'll have to accept the idea that anything other than D&D becomes a footnote. It could be an opportunity, it could be a second Pathfinder window opening up for some big competitor to steal their thunder and knock them from the top spot. And you can't really go back on the OSR. Once it's out, once it's open source, that's it. It's open source. I mean, you can release new stuff that isn't open source, but it's easily clonable because you can't copyright rules, only particular expressions of them, stat blocks, only particular expressions of them. What tends to kill the OSR and the OGL periodically are gluts of subpar third-party content that makes people wary of buying anything. But it does keep coming back. Now, I don't know which way it's gonna go, but I'm cautiously pessimistic. Online play is great, but nothing really substitutes for getting together with friends, with food, maybe a few drinks, round a table, loosening up, you know, playing for hours and hours and hours. People feel freer to cancel online sessions or to just ghost you and never show up. If Wizards goes for a walled garden approach, what happens if you get banned from their platform for having the wrong opinion or something else, something esoteric? And, you know, it happens everywhere. We know it does. Will they allow horror or adult role-playing on their platform? And if not, what happens to you? Where can those more kind of mature themes and games go? You know, that's my bag, and that worries me if we basically have it run by Facebook Karens or social justice mobs constantly looking for someone to ban from the platform and effectively excluding you from the hobby, given the sheer impact that D&D and this new approach is likely to have. Look, this just seems like a series of headaches waiting to happen, waiting for us to negotiate them, and a lot more fighting to keep gaming open and accessible to people outside of that walled garden. But if you play around a table with friends in person, with Cheetos and pizza and Mountain Dew, if you play anything other than 1D&D, you know, you're about to be forced to become old school. Like it or not. Yeah, you're all gonna be grognards now if you don't get off on playing online in these curated and controlled spaces. My joints ache. Rains are coming. Zang. problem for every games master has always been coming up with adventure ideas. For years now, Postmortem Studios has been helping out with the 100 Adventure Seeds line. These provide adventure ideas for all genres, and you can get them at RPG Now or lulu.com.
Down before your eyes, the actor screaming agonizing cries, another useless reason to despise the secret life that everyone's nice, that secret life that everyone's nice, that secret life that everyone's nice. You're a star now, you go far now, in the Nero Daughter Show. In the Nero Daughter Show, you're on stage now. Disengage now. In the Nero Daughter Show. In the Nero Daughter Show. Nero Daughter Show.